It's time. Time for the Chiefs to find revenge against the Bengals. Time for us to dominate one more time on Fanduel. Last multi-game slate of the season. After this one, it's just the showdown slate at the Super Bowl. It is time to jump in. We've got a guest with us tonight. Let's get this thing rocking. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's go win a little money.
36-36 tie in overtime. Chiefs first down and goal to go.
I'm going to win every single day.
Mahomes looks to throw it. Pump faking right side. He wants it. A comeback cut. It is caught by Kelsey.
Yeah, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper.
Touchdown! Kansas City!
Oh, let's go. Kev, I didn't even tell you I was going to come in that hot. It's time, man. Chiefs need this thing. You know, the Bengals talking all that shit. I don't care. I'm all Chiefs all the time. I'm ready to rock on Sunday.
I can tell. But first of all, that song's got me hyped. Can you send me a link to that?
Absolutely. When it's grim, be the Grim Reaper. Let's go.
That is the best.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you all for being here tonight. Welcome in to the Rumbles of Red, powered by Stadium Rant and StadiumRant.com. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel at 105 subscribers. Looking to try to see if we can't push 125, 150 subscribers by the Super Bowl. We've got a couple weeks left to get there. And tonight, as you see already, a special guest, Kev, a colleague of mine over at Stadium Rant. He hosts The Bounce on Thursday nights with our boy James. How's it going, Kev? How you doing? You ready for this weekend?
Hey, Trevor, thanks for having me, first of all. And I am happy to be here. Happy to talk football about a team that's actually winning some games. No more Colts talk for me. I swapped out my hat. I'm ready to help you pick some winners.
You ready for the Expos to come back?
Hey, I will push this narrative until the day I die.
It is a sick hat. It is a sick hat. Yeah, we're gonna talk FanDuel. We're gonna talk main slate. If you're here with us in the chat, we want your input. As always, every week we're gonna build some teams here towards the end. Kevin and I have got some bets that we like for this weekend, so we'll talk about those. Just a jam-packed episode here. Buckle up. Let's have some fun. We're already hot in the chat with some bets here. 2.5-point favorite Eagles is a trap. Well, there goes my bet at the end of the night. So I guess I'll throw that out the window because I love the 2.5 points the Eagles are getting. Vegas wants the money to go on the Eagles with that spread. 49ers probably pull the upset. I actually don't hate the idea that it's a trap because the 2.5 does feel weird. Being a home team, usually you're given 3. So 3.5 feels like the actual line, what it should be here. But yeah, I guess I could see where it could be a trap there. But I love the 2.5. If I can get the 2.5, I'll take it. Anytime I can get under 3, that's kind of the sweet spot. That's kind of the sweet spot for you.
I agree with you. Now I'm questioning myself though. Now I feel Admiral Akbar. Just it's a trap. What's wrong here? I'm still confident for now.
Might be a trap. Before we get into too much of the games and the lineup builds and really what players we're going to be playing, my listeners know that I'm going to play super contrarian. If there's a guy not being played enough, I'm going to hammer him when I'm building my lineups. Everybody knows this. Watches the show, listens, probably to a fault. Maybe that's why I haven't won near as much as, my wife or my kids that want to go to college would like me to win. But, that's just the way it is right now. I love to play contrarian plays. But I wanted to kind of know your insight here, Kev, as a guest of the show. Tell the listeners, I know you love playing on FanDuel. What are you looking to play? What kind of contests are you looking to play? Kind of how's your style of play?
Yeah, so I do like to play more. I like to focus more on single game matchups. I do kind of play in the lower stakes. I like to experiment, so I like to try multiple lineups. I will say, kind of like you, Trevor, a bit a contrarian, and I want to play a unique sort of stack in a sense that if I hit, I'm going to win. But with doing that, you're going to take some chances, and so you're going to take some L's, of course. And so that's why I tend to stay away from the wider, I try to not do a full 1 p.m. slate, or, it may be a 4 o'clock when it's only 3 games or something. I really try to focus on one matchup, especially if it's a team or 2 teams that I know well, and I feel like I know something. And then I'm going to build around my knowledge, take what I think is the guarantee, spend that money, and then see what I have left to play around with and see if there's a matchup I like.
Yeah, I love those single game slates. I play a lot of there's a 100-person contest on FanDuel that I play all the time. That's where I've been most successful this year in general, has been those single game 100-person contests. First place, it pays like top 12, which kind of sucks, but it's easier to get to first place. And I've gotten there quite a bit this year. So I'll probably actually play a little bit. Maybe we'll even build a single game lineup too, just to, here towards the end, just to kind of see what that is, since we both really like that. But, I like to think the success for single game slate could help us in a short slate like this. 2 games, 4 teams, we're kind of going all in, potentially on a team or on one game. I think that knowledge of playing the shorter slates or the single game slates will help us with this short 2-game slate. So hopefully we can bring a little bit of edge there. Zachary here. What's up, my man? I have the money line on 49ers and Bengals, both Kelsey brothers going down. I can't agree with that. Going to the Super Bowl, baby. My biggest miss last week was FanDuel has these boosts, and they had a plus 500 boost for Bengals and 49ers to win. And I was like, nope, I'm not touching that. I'm all in on the Cowboys. And I was all in on the Cowboys because I had so many Cowboys in like underdog. My FFPC team needed the Cowboys to move forward. I had a lot of Tony Pollard. That was me like being blinded by my own wants. And that would have hit nicely if I would have just laid the dang thing.
Yeah, it killed me too. I'm going to fall on my face with my Cowboys to the Super Bowl prediction. But yeah, I fell victim to that too. But it was easy to do after that first playoff week.
Yep, that's for sure.
We thought we had finally seen the arrival.
And they had a chance to win the game. Like I was texting about it early this week. I think just Pollard going down just completely changed the offensive game plan for the Cowboys, and they're just not good enough. Dak's a good quarterback. He's not good enough to change on the fly.
Agreed. And it also killed my 4-leg parlay because Pollard went out with 22 yards. I had him at 25.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's jump into the games here. Game 1 has the Eagles hosting the 49ers. Game 2, you already know, it's actually called Arrowhead, contrary to those on the East Coast. This is what we call here in Kansas City the Arrowhead Invitational. Chiefs hosting the Bengals in a rematch of last year's AFC game. It's so funny. We get all pissed off because people are calling it Burrowhead in Cincinnati, but then Kansas City calls it Arrowhead Invitational. So, let's be honest. None of this actually matters. They just want to get on the field. But 2 games, 2 winners. They're going to meet in Super Bowl 57. So let's just jump in to the 4 quarterbacks to get us started here. Jalen Hurts, it's going to come in $9,200 on FanDuel. Joe Burrow, $8,300. Patrick Mahomes, $8,500. Brock Purdy at $6,900. And as I speak those out, it's really in the order of ownership projections at this time. For me, I'm going if Mahomes is going to be played in only a quarter of the lineups that I'm going to be facing, I'm just going to smash him over and over again this week. I understand the ankle issue. It makes sense. But they really abandon the run in games like this, and they put the ball in Mahomes' hands, and he's got the ceiling that I don't think Joe Burrow has, and definitely Brock Purdy doesn't have. Burrow, 30 FanDuel points against the Chiefs back in early December. That's the last time he even got over 26 FanDuel points. They're throwing the ball a lot, but they've slowed the game down quite a bit, and he's not really accessing a huge slate winning ceiling. So I don't really know if the $200 is worth the savings to go from Mahomes to Burrow. But Kev, 4 quarterbacks. What are your thoughts on quarterbacks this weekend?
Ooh, you you're very convincing because you're starting to talk me out of my Joe Burrow pick there with your argument for Patrick Mahomes. And I don't know, when I'm looking at it just based on, if I look at it strictly matchup wise, I understand. I'm walking on dangerous ground here because I'm on a Chiefs podcast. But
Oh,
I would
no.
say
This is a daily fantasy podcast. You can talk whatever you want. It's just this week just is a little bit more Chiefs because of the championship game.
I'm nervous. I see what's on those walls, but no, I matchup wise, my head screams Burrow just because that with the defense, I think it's the most favorable. But and then with Mahomes, there is the ankle injury. Now, I do like the argument that you've made, especially if you're taking that approach of percentage of lineups being played, and you're saying, hey, I want the best chances of if I hit, I'm going to hit, because I think a lot of people are going to take Burrow on this. Obviously, very few people are taking Purdy. I don't know. I would still, for now, I'm still taking Burrow, but I guess it's tough. I'm going to stick with Burrow for now. But if I hear or see that Mahomes is looking great on that ankle, I might flip and just go all in with your suggestion here, Trevor.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to play Burrow. And like I said, I mean, he did put up 30 Fanduel points against the Chiefs before. He has, really played well against these Chiefs. Something about Spags and this defense just trying to all-out blitz Burrow and play one-on-one on the outside. It never works. Jamar Chase is too damn good. So I think that Burrow is still going to be a good play. I was trying to pull up. I think this game's over-under is quite a bit more than the other game. So if that's the case, I think a lot of people a couple points. So right now the total for 49ers Eagles at 46.5, Bengals Chiefs at 48. So you're kind of looking at which one can get over that 50, who can actually make which game can actually make into a shootout. I do think it's the Chiefs Bengals either. And if that's the case, Joe Burrow is going to be in play for sure. Joe Burrow is going to play. Yeah, that's right. James Kev's over here. I bring him on my podcast with my Chiefs stuff. He's saying Burrow all the way this weekend. Burrowhead Stadium. Yeah, we'll let the Cincinnati Bengals have all that talk, and we'll let hopefully Chris Jones can get his first playoff sack ever this weekend. But yeah, Jalen Hurts obviously in a great play. He's always a great play. The 49ers are pretty solid against the run, so I think that they could control his legs a little bit this week, which might lower his ceiling just a tad. And then I don't know, can you play Brock Purdy?
You're getting creative with
so
Brock Purdy, right? He's going to be, you're going to have something else somewhere else.
You could probably put Christian McCaffrey, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase. You could probably play all the studs. If you can get a guy like Brock Purdy in there. So if you're willing to stomach it, I think the path to Brock Purdy is just saying, look, both games are more, low scoring, maybe in the 40s, 44s. It's 24-21, whatever. So none of the quarterbacks explode, right? So then you take Brock Purdy and save the money. So I think that's what you could do there with the quarterbacks. I am definitely, all in on Mahomes at just a quarter of the rosters. Sounds like Kev's more in on Burrow. I digress with that, right? All right, let's move to running back and keep this train rolling. If you're in the chat tonight, welcome in. Appreciate it. Hit that like button. I need to know, do you think one of these running backs separates themselves from the others? Because when we're really looking at this, just if I sort by salary, yeah, you got the two top guys, but what about these guys right here in the middle, the McKinnons, Pacheco, Sanders, some of these guys that everybody's going to be playing? Do you think any of them separates themselves in terms of FanDuel points from the rest of the pack? Let me know in the chat. We want to hear from you tonight. The first thing that stands out for me here at running back, it's really that Miles Sanders and this ownership. And right now, if I sort by ownership, 42% is what they're projecting. He got boxed out last week by a huge Kenneth Gainwell game. I kind of expected him to get squeezed this week a little bit because of that, but he is the cheapest starting running back, so I guess that's probably why he ends up getting played a lot more this week. Anything right now stand out to you at running back?
Look at that Jerick McKinnon ownership. It's a bit of the same, I guess, right? That's the second
Big goose egg last week.
one of the cheaper options, though. Is that why he's getting such a high percent? And then also, I think to touch on
What did
what
he
you
get
mentioned
last
before,
week?
they're
2.5.
gonna abandon the run, right? And if that is the case, then okay, McKinnon's the play, right? If you're gonna play a Chiefs running back, we've seen those games where a flick of the wrist turns into a 32-yard touchdown, and then you're sitting pretty. You're feeling great about that play. But that one surprises me. I mean, to me, my favorite, if the salaries were out of it, which would be a different game, but Joe Mixon, it could be. He was the other reason I'm a little shaky on Burrow, because what if it turns into another 100+ game from Mixon? What if he gets 25 carries? I mean, P. Ryan had a good game the last time these guys squared off, so there is that potential there. If it doesn't go the run and gun, air it out shootout, it could be a Mixon day. But my other thought is I don't want to spend that money on McCaffrey. Not
especially with a little bit of injury. Yeah, calf injury going on. Absolutely, I agree with that. 9K. They did lower him a little bit. I think last week he was closer to 95. So they lowered his salary just a little bit this week. I think they lowered everybody's salary. Like McKinnon was at like 7K last week. So they definitely lowered his salary. But yeah, 9K is you're essentially not going to be able to get in the stud wide receivers if you go that route. I kind of think that looking at salary wise, it feels like most of the builds, and even the ones that I've done, the ones that feel the most, safe and cozy is like you pick Christian McCaffrey or Joe Mixon, and then you play one of Jerick McKinnon, Isaiah Pacheco, or Miles Sanders. Like you're playing one of the top guys and one of the middle guys, and you're kind of building around those. I think that you could get really different if you wanted to play, like a Christian McCaffrey and Joe Mixon, and then just say like you play all the middle or low tier wide receivers. Like if you think that Christian McCaffrey and Joe Mixon can outscore AJ Brown and Jamar Chase, it's probably going to be different. I don't think a lot of people are going to build that way, at least in the contest that I'm playing in, like a hand builder. I'm not like MME in this thing with a bunch of formulas, right? I'm just hand building these. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on a Mixon and Burrow or C-Mac together?
That would be an interesting play. Yeah, I think you would be down to, you're probably starting a slot receiver at that point, maybe two. But it could be, we've talked about, like, if it does become a grinded out situation, if it's a low scoring game, if it becomes a run heavy affair in both games, I mean, it could be. I think it's going to be a very rare play. I don't think people are going to look at that and do that, because they're just going to look at that leftover that salary per average player afterwards and be like, yeah, right, I'm not even going to try to finish this. Or
right.
You get down to see this is what I have at 4,700. I can't do this. I'm not going to play Sky Moore.
It's probably going to have to be like a Purdy play. Like it's probably like you're going to have to go down to Purdy, and exactly what you said. In that case, I'm probably building like a 3 running back build as well. Just saying both these games hit the under, throw a running back in the flex as well, and just kind of expect there not to be a lot of points on Sunday.
Cheapest tight end you can find.
Yeah.
Best value.
Zach, this is Establish the Run. I am not affiliated with Establish the Run. I do pay for their subscription, so I feel comfortable putting them on screen. It's great. It really is great. I love their projections. You can download it as a CSV, put it in your own spreadsheet if you want. That's what I do during the season for the main slates. I haven't done that as much during the playoffs, just not as many teams to sift through, so I don't think I have to do that. But you can do it. They have Fanduel projections, DraftKings projections, Yahoo projections, whoever's playing on Yahoo these days. So great website there. I love ETR. I don't even have a promo code to give you. I'll need it. Maybe I'll hit them up next year and tell them to give me a promo code. Anyway, so the other thing I want to mention here is Elijah Mitchell. Missed practice again today. And so interesting there with San Francisco. It really only brings me to ask the question, if Elijah Mitchell doesn't play, do you have any interest at all in one Jordan Mason who's already had 2 running rushes in the playoffs? Any interest at $4,600 Jordan Mason if Elijah Mitchell doesn't play? As a salary saver,
I'd throw $1 into a speculative lineup with that, because we talked about McCaffrey's injury. If you look at the numbers, what did he have? 10 carries for 35 yards, and you might have to help me here with the receptions, but I want to say it was 6, but that might be high.
He did have a lot. 6, yeah. 6.
Okay, so yeah, we're talking 16 touches for the whole game. I believe Mitchell out-carried him last game, but there's going to be carries, especially if the calf isn't 100%. So, and then you have to consider the fact that what if the calf goes down? What if McCaffrey's out for a big chunk of the second half again? Someone has to play.
He's only 4,600. That makes me really feel like I'm okay if Mitchell comes out, he's good to go. He's 100%, which he's not gonna be 100%, but he's playing. I'm okay playing Mitchell. So I think I'm okay with throwing a dart here and there. I don't think I'm gonna force it, and I'm probably not gonna play him in all my lineups. But I don't mind saving a little bit of money if Mitchell is ruled out, and that's only if he's ruled out.
Can I throw you a curveball of the same question? If Mitchell goes out, would you consider restructuring a build around Debo, thinking that he's going to get a lot more touches out of the backfield potentially that day?
Yeah, that's 100%. I think that's a sharp play as well, because he will essentially be that guy, right? And they've done that in the past. That's what they did all last year. So it's not like it would be something new for the 49ers. And Debo looks pretty healthy. He's looked great in the playoffs. Yeah, I think that if Mitchell's out, I think Debo's, ceiling boosts quite a bit as well, because I think that he will also get more touches in the backfield. He got more touches in the backfield last week. He was back there a few times against the Cowboys. How many? Oh, this isn't going to tell me rushes. I don't remember how many he had, but I know he was back there at least a few snaps. So he probably got a couple carries there. I think that's probably spot on as well with Debo getting some carries if Mitchell's out.
Yeah, so get in now. What is he? 7,000 now? Maybe
7,000.
Throw a spec line up at now just in case before
7,
the price goes up.
So the price won't change. They won't move it.
Okay.
So that'll be nice. But what I really like is when like Elijah Mitchell when he is called out like Sunday morning, because then not as many people are going to be on it, right? If he comes out tomorrow, they're like, no, he's not playing. Everybody's going to be on Debo, maybe a little bit more on Mason. But if they don't tell us until, noon on Sunday and the game starts in a few hours, not as many people are going to be talking about that. And I think that allows us to just play more Debo Samuel across all of our lineups than anything. So that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. But yeah, I think Debo, and I'm not afraid to sprinkle in a little Jordan Mason for the listeners there if they're interested in that. All right, anything else on running back? Did we miss anyone? Pacheco, you're getting what you get. Hopefully he falls into the end zone. Honestly, Miles Sanders, super high owned, makes me really not like him.
Yep.
I'd rather play Pacheco. I'd rather play Samaje Perine potentially just to get different. I'm sure I'll play Miles Sanders a little bit, but not super interested in him against this 49ers defense this week. All right, let's talk wide receivers. I'm going to pull this up. In the chat, let us know. I want to hear from you all today. We've been a little bit quiet here. I know you're there. Let me know, okay? Just 1v1. I don't care how you build the lineup, anything like that. Who would you rather play this week, A.J. Brown or Jamar Chase? A.J. Brown or Jamar Chase? Put Brown or Chase or A.J., whatever you want in the chat. These are the top 2 wide receivers of the week. They're the top 2 salaries. They're the top 2 ceiling projections. We know we're going to have to play one of these guys to take this thing down this week. So I want to know from you in the chat, who would you rather play? And Kev, I'll give you the floor first. Who would you rather play if you had to choose between AJ Brown and Jamar Chase?
I am going to not do it as 1v1 in a vacuum, but I am going to, looking at that ownership makes me really high on AJ Brown, because I do think that given the matchup with the 49ers, they tend to give up more to the ones. So I think AJ Brown is definitely, it's going to be an AJ Brown day, not a Devontae day. And because he is a slightly better price, and I look at that ownership, you got almost half of users starting with Jamar, then by that logic, give me AJ Brown. Although I'm not going to give anyone any flack for picking Jamar, but give me AJ Brown this time.
Absolutely. AJ Brown or Jamar Chase. Let us know in the chat tonight. I'm going to start with Jamar Chase. Absolutely been dominant this season, right? 14 games this season. He's got 13 games with at least 79 yards or a touchdown. He has 9 touchdowns in his last 9 games. He dominates the target share for Cincinnati. He dominates the air yards there in Cincinnati. I think T. Higgins is a number 1 wide receiver, and Jamar Chase has blown him out of the water. T. Higgins has, maybe it's his ankle injury that, he's still kind of recovering from, but Jamar Chase has just absolutely left him in the dust in terms of productivity on this offense. And then I look at AJ Brown, and hasn't been that dominant, but he's also been pretty dominant this season. Had his fair share of dominant games. You think about the 3 touchdown game back, and I think it was like week 5 or 6. I just remember seeing it, and of course I played 0 AJ Brown that week. But of course that's how it goes. But Jalen Hurts loves throwing the deep ball, and he loves hitting AJ Brown deep. And you hit it, that's where the 49ers are going to be vulnerable. And that's where they're going to have to beat this team is some of these deep balls to AJ Brown. So I'm right there with you. I think they're both going to be stacked, but AJ Brown is a guy I like. And to get him at, 15% less ownership, that really makes me happy there. I think he's like the 4th or 5th projected highest owned wide receiver. Yeah, he's down here below. I don't get it. He's always too low owned, in my opinion. You could play him every single week.
That's insane. Seeing that, wow, those names, no disrespect to any of the names above him, but wow.
Most of it's probably salary.
Bengals third. A lot of it has to be salary based. Yeah, these are guys getting selected in the 2nd and 3rd slots, or
right. Yep. Yeah. I've been working on an article about this. Okay, here we go. Let's get off the AJ Brown. We'll talk more wide receivers here in a minute. Let's get to this. Jets hire. I know you guys don't want to talk about it. We'll talk about anything. You put it in the chat, I'll talk about it. Guarantee you that. Rodgers headed to the Jets. Is Rodgers headed to the Jets? I want to hear your opinion, but I just have to say one thing, just because I said earlier in a group chat. It kind of feels like Nathaniel Hackett is the new Adam Gase, in a sense of he's literally just living on the couple of years that he had a freaking Hall of Fame quarterback. And now he's just going job to job because nobody gives a shit, because he had one good year with one good quarterback.
He's like, I send Aaron Rodgers a Christmas card every year.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's my
yes. I don't know. Do you think Hackett could actually recruit Rodgers?
I don't know. And potentially. Aaron Rodgers is a hard guy to figure out, I think, for anyone. But I will say this to the New York Jets. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. I say that to both parties. All right. Let us not repeat. We know what happened the last time a Hall of Fame Packer went to the Jets. All right. Let's just not do it. We don't need to see it. It's like a weird Kennedy Lincoln assassination thing. What's going on with these Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre parallels? I don't like it. It makes me feel like we're living in a simulation anywhere else but the Jets. But no, in all seriousness, that would be a lot of fun though, right? With those weapons, with Aaron Rodgers. Where do you think he's going? You think there's any chance he ends up in New York?
I think there's a high chance he could go to New York. I think that, with some of the weapons they've got with Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, those should be at least, for Aaron Rodgers, they should be a little bit, spicy for him, attractive for him, but they are young guys. And we know Aaron Rodgers doesn't necessarily like the young guys. So that could definitely spook him from wanting to go to a place like New York and play in New York. I think Aaron Rodgers absolutely has the Rodgers narrative in his mind, and Aaron Rodgers wants to be his own guy. So I think that could also spook him from even going there. Like just saying like, nope, not doing that because the hell with you guys. I'm not Brett Favre. With all that said, I mean, I'm just gonna. What about your Colts, man?
I knew it was coming. I could
What
feel
about your
it.
Colts? I know you're a Colts fan. Why not? Like, I know the Colts have gone through this like shit year after year, getting these washed up veteran quarterbacks, but maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't washed up.
It feels like the Browns now. I have an old Manning jersey. I just put tape over it, or
There
an
you
old
go,
Luck
yep.
jersey, and it gets bad. I think we're a victim of another narrative. Although I wouldn't be super thrilled personally to have Rodgers, but so much of it is I think people are sour on it because this will be the 6th or 7th time the Colts are trying the old bridge QB. And so I think, of course, it makes some of us Colts fans shudder. But no, I mean, it can't be outside of the realm of possibility. You have an owner that clearly wants to win, even if he can't get out of his own way. You have Pat McAfee down there, who Aaron Rodgers happens to be good friends with. Not that it would necessarily matter, but it can't hurt to have someone like that recruiting for you. So this team clearly considers it an option, but could you just imagine the Colts using their top 10 pick on a quarterback after signing Aaron Rodgers, and he's just going to be in the same hell
why
he's been
not?
in.
You know, I don't know. Like that's what I would think of is like, hey, Rodgers, we're bringing you in for a 2-year contract, whatever. Like you got 2 years, but then you're in those 2 years, you're I don't know, whatever, you're grooming this guy that you take in the top 10 to be a quarterback. Patrick Mahomes sat for a full season behind Alex Smith. And to this day, I think it was the right move. We still have arguments within Chiefs group chats about whether or not he should have played the first season. I think that they did the right thing, and others will say maybe they could have been more successful that first season, whatever. But maybe that's something they could do. That was just a thought for me, is like take a guy in the top 10, but then have Rodgers that he can learn from for the first 2 seasons. There's worse guys out there you can learn from.
I will say this, if they go the veteran quarterback route, that will be one that I won't hate compared to the other options that are out there. Absolutely. But
trade Foles for Rodgers. I want to see Foles back up Love.
There we go.
I want to see Love. Like I just kind of want to see
play.
Love play. I want to see him give him a chance. All right, let's get back on track here with some of our this weekend. T. Higgins is going to catch up this week against Spags. I'll probably end up playing about 8 lineups, so I'll definitely play a T. Higgins lineup. Like there's going to be T. Higgins in one of them. I don't think I'm going to play a lot of them though. He's been bad. Truly, he's shown up in good spots, third downs here and there, but as far as fantasy wise, he's been pretty bad over the last 6 games or so.
Is there any chance that some sort of overcommitment to Jamar on the defensive end means more T this weekend?
It could. They don't normally do that a whole lot because usually if they go too heavy on something, they'll be heavy blitz and they'll just go man to man across the board. I do think Trent McDuffie will be a game changer. He's never played against Jamar Chase, so having him on the outside could help quite a bit. I do think these defensive backs have gotten better, but I don't know. I mean, the Chiefs are absolutely horrid against number 1 wide receivers, and I just think that Chase will probably eat like he always does, and we just kind of have to hope that it's not too much, Burrow Boyd stack. I do like throwing Boyd. That's probably like Boyd's here in the top, 5. I like throwing him in on a double stack, if you're going to go Burrow, Chase, Boyd, something like that. I like Boyd more than I like Hayden Hurst this week. Okay. Just the way that the Chiefs play tight ends, pretty solid there. That's $1 million 42
for 2 years.
For 2 years. Oh, yeah.
For 2 years.
Million, 2 years. Hey, whatever brings you a Super Bowl, that's what the Chiefs did, right?
Honestly, when you said 2 years, I had helicopters over my head and the sound of 48 Matt Ryan fumbles going through I'm like, no, give him
I
1 year
can't do
deal.
2 years.
No 2 years, man. I can't do it.
1 year deals only. What about the rest of these guys here at the wide receiver spot? You know, the Eagles wide receivers are the Eagles are really good against wide receivers. So I'm not big on like Ayuk this week, even though he's cheap. I don't know. What do you think about the rest of these guys?
I agree with you. So I'm not big on 49ers receivers this week, not named Deebo Samuel for this. Now, if we start talking about some alternate prop bets and some parlays later on, I will tell you to what degree I kind of like Ayuk and Juwan Jennings, but not if you're going to try to win in a fantasy matchup this week.
Yeah.
If you're going to have to pick one, I think it has to be Deebo. And price-wise, what's the difference? Deebo's not that much more expensive than Ayuk. Well, I guess it is
$1,000. Yeah.
So
$1,000.
I'm looking at, I mean, if you're at that price, I mean, what I think I would rather, if I'm sitting at 6,000, I think I'd rather take the flyer on Juju this week than Ayuk. But
Juju.
I mean, you Boyd down there who we just mentioned who's cheaper. So
Absolutely.
if that's available, if that's an option for you, I'd probably prefer that as well.
Yeah, Ayuk's a guy that I truly wouldn't be surprised if I came out and I just did not have any Ayuk. He had a great game the first week. Kittle had his game last week. Maybe it's Deebo's time to have his game. But the way that these Eagles play wide receivers, I'm just not big on him. I like Devontae Smith still. I talked to AJ Brown up quite a bit. I don't, double stack, maybe just do like a premium double stack with Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and call it a day and print money. Like maybe that's what you have to do this week. I'm not sure, but I don't mind him. The 49ers, Hurts is elusive enough that he can avoid some of the pressure. If you think back, like the Chiefs, when they played and they put up 30-something points, Jarrett Stidham just put up 34 points against them 3 weeks ago. Like this 49ers defense is good, but it's not like they've been having this like career best, year ever. They play the Seahawks and the Cowboys. I don't know. I'm not ready to crown them yet.
That's true. Yeah, and they're definitely they're not unstoppable. They're not without holes. I still for the money, an aggressive double stack could work, right? If there's also the chance that the Eagles are going to be that much better. I don't think they're going to be up by 4 touchdowns at any point in this game, but they could. It could be a runaway for them. And so maybe there's that, but man, I love AJ. I think with the prices being where they're at, I agree. Like the deep ball is what's gonna do this for the Eagles. And then we hadn't talked about Hurts yet, but yeah, that the ability to extend those plays, which then what's usually open when you're breaking out of the pocket and getting deep. So
absolutely, yeah, I like that a lot. We'll probably talk about a couple of these lower level wide receivers when we're building lineups and trying to find a little bit of salary savings. Let's talk tight end here.
Easy
if
one.
You're in the chat. Yeah. If you're in the chat. Okay. We all know, Travis Kelce is the guy, but what I want to know, are you going to play 2 tight end builds? Are you putting a tight end in your flex this week? Ooh. They're going to be cheaper. So I think that's going to be a pretty popular way to save some money. But yes or no in the chat, are you playing a 2 tight end build? Are you putting Travis Kelce with a Hayden Hurst or Dallas Goedert or a Noah Gray to save some money? 2 tight end builds. Are you guys doing them? Yes or no in the chat. Zach's already hitting us with the Goddard this week.
Yeah.
I think you can. I mean, here's the thing. There's 4 guys that are in play. And if you want to throw a dart at Noah Gray, throw a dart at Noah Gray. But there's really 4 tight ends in play, so they're all playable. Like, we don't want to say that, right? But it's got to be Travis Kelce. We got to start there, right?
Absolutely. It has to be, especially if Patrick Mahomes isn't 100%, because what is going to be the biggest thing to help keep him off that sore ankle is those creative little tight end screens. And just Kelce's so good, I don't have to tell you, but at finding that soft spot in the zone and being that security blanket. And we all know what else he can, but this could be a game where Kelce could have 15 catches. Maybe that's being hyperbolic, but I feel like it's a all day Kelce game.
Yeah, and 17 targets last week.
Okay, see, I'm not crazy.
You're not crazy at all. Here's the stat: the last 3 games. So we all know the Bengals have played the Chiefs 3 times. I want to remind everybody those were all 3 of those games, right? Were in what 2022? They were all in 2022, right? Because the first game was after January. Yeah, all 3 of those games were in 2022. We're in a new year here, but Kelsey's stat line for those: 5 for 25 and a touchdown, 10 for 95 and a touchdown, 4 for 56 this year against them. So 10 for 95 and a touchdown in last year's playoff game. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, they want to get the ball in Kelsey's hands. Everybody knows it. We saw it last week. Yeah, right? I just said it, 17 targets. Like, he is the game plan, and it doesn't matter what you try to do to stop him. If you try to stop him, they're creative enough to get around that, whether it's with him or with a different tight end. They'll come out and run 3 tight ends, and everybody will be with Kelsey, and then Noah Gray or Jody Fortson will just be sitting there in the middle of the end zone with nobody around them. So I think that though I missed last week. Because I played everything I played with Kelsey. I played Mahomes. So I do want to kind of play a little bit of Kelsey without Mahomes this week. So I want to see how that goes. But most of, almost every Mahomes team will have Travis Kelsey easy.
Yeah.
We'll have Travis Kelsey easy. I already have on 2 of my DraftKings builds. Yeah. I think the 2 tight end thing is going to go. I think it's going to be popular this week.
Yeah, there's some good options there.
And when you can throw Hayden Hurst or Noah Gray, I mean, Noah Gray's we were talking about Jordan Mason at 4,600. Like, Noah Gray probably has a percentage chance more than Jordan Mason does to score and double their salary. Just thinking through that, just because it takes 1 touchdown, he probably has a higher percentage chance to score a touchdown than Jordan Mason. So Noah Gray could be a great salary saver this week if you're really trying to go studs and duds.
Yeah, that could have helped me earlier on some of my pre-show builds.
That's right. Yeah, he's the guy. He's the guy. I'm also kind of hoping. So Travis Kelsey, I guess we probably ought to let the listeners know he did come up on the injury report today. Yes. Questionable with a back injury. I haven't really done a lot of digging, but he is a full participant in practice still. But it was weird. He came up on the injury report. So hopefully this big old Q tag he's got right here, maybe that'll make people not play him as much.
Yeah, it's very questionable. That back is sore. I don't know, guys. I'd go all in on Hayden.
Yeah, that's right. Don't play him. I will play him, but don't play him. Bengals defense is 3,200 on DraftKings, so you can upgrade both tight ends. That's one thing about the defense here. Again, you can play all these tight ends, and tight ends to me are boring to talk about because they all suck this year. Like, literally outside. Travis Kelsey had a great year, but he didn't have a career year. It wasn't the best tight end year ever, but it feels like it because all the tight ends were so bad. But I'll hit this one thing on defenses. They're all expensive on Fanduel. Mm-hmm. You get nobody under 4K, which kind of sucks because you don't have any salary savings this week, which is why you're trying to find it elsewhere. But yeah, just play whoever you want on defense. They're all going to be 25% owned. Who knows? I do agree. I think you said at pre-show that the Eagles defense is the best defense. I agree with that as well against a rookie Brock Purdy, although he keeps, doing good things.
Right.
I think we saw last week against a really good defense, they stalled out a ton. And I could see that happening with the Eagles as well, and the sacks and everything like that. Decoy injury for Kelsey. Let's go. We'll take it.
It's one of those Belichick questionables, isn't it? Right. I thought about that when I saw it.
Andy Reid taking a page out of Belichick's book. Okay, before we get into the lineup builds, Kev, we need to know. Chat, you guys talked about Burrow, Boyd stacks earlier, but I want to know who is your favorite stack. I don't care if it's team, if it's a little quarterback wide receiver, if it's a running back, if it's a game stack. When you're looking at this slate, what is your favorite stack to attack this week? Kev, I'll start with you, and then I'll give you mine. And chat, I want to hear it in the chat too. Favorite stack of the week?
Oh, I have a pretty vanilla favorite stack, and then I have one that I am interested in trying. So I'm going to give you the one that I think most people would find reasonable first, which would just be a plain old QB wide receiver. Give me Hurts and Brown as a stack that I'm looking at. I mean, and I'll just stop there because I don't want to take too. I mean, obviously there's a couple of good options here, but I'll come back, or when we come back to me, I have another one that's maybe a little bit more odd. But I think Hurts and Brown for the touchdown potential, right? We know we assume if they score, it's going to be a big play. I like that. I like that stack on screen though, too.
We don't play kickers on FanDuel. No kickers on FanDuel. Well, if you're gonna play a single game slate though.
I was just about to say I love some second half single game slates. I've had some where I've got 2 kickers in those lineups.
Get those kickers in there. Get those kickers in there. Yeah. So my favorite stack of the week, of course, I will go very vanilla as well, but it's gonna be Mahomes, McKinnon, Kelsey, with no wide receivers from the Chiefs.
Oh,
and the reason being is we don't know what wide receiver is gonna hit. It could be Juju, it could be Tony, and maybe you need one of them. But also, Patrick Mahomes can throw 4 touchdowns, and they could all 4 go to these 2 guys. I think big playoff game. They didn't use McKinnon as much last week, mostly I would say because of Mahomes' injury. Plus, the Jags' run defense did not stand up to where we thought they would. They actually looked pretty lackluster against Pacheco, but I think they go right back to McKinnon this week, and McKinnon, Kelsey with Mahomes. I also don't even mind throwing in like a Chiefs defense here, just saying like the Chiefs kind of dominate if that's the way you want to build the team. Otherwise, I would just go heavy Bengals on the other side, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, whatever, and just say this game blows up, but the Chiefs and Mahomes' points all go through Mixon and Kelsey. So Mahomes, Mixon, and Kelsey is my favorite stack of the week. And all right, let's start here with the lineup build. Right. Who do you want to start with? You want to start with your stack, Hurts Brown?
Yeah, let's go there. Yeah, I've got that. I feel like that's a pretty standard one that we can build. Give everybody a nice little baseline here. If
you're new here to the Rumbles in Red, when we build lineups, we want to hear from you in the chat. Let us know who you think we should build with. I will ask for your guys's, who you guys want us to build a lineup for. This is just a way to kind of start to get in the habit of looking at our options for Sunday. And this is just the starter. You should be doing this probably Saturday, maybe Sunday morning, whatever. But this kind of just gives us a little starting point this week for the championship Sunday. So, yeah, I like Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. Do you want to double stack it, or do you just want to single stack it and maybe load up on the second game and kind of go that route?
My thought with this one would be to load up on the second game because I was thinking, of course, Kelsey's probably the shoe in at tight end, and then running back is a question mark with me on this one. I wouldn't love it, but we might end up with Sanders in there potentially, but. I don't know if it's.
Well, let's go Eagles defense with it. If we're going to load up on the second game, I don't want to take 49ers defense, but we'll go there. I think that I think we got to go Joe Mixon in that second game for sure. If that's the way we're going to play this thing, already leaves us 5,400, which is interesting to say the least. I don't know. Give me somebody here.
Let's see.
We could go.
Do we go Boyd here? Is that? We
could go Boyd. We could go Boyd. We could go like a Tony and say, maybe it's because we don't have Mahomes. Maybe Tony runs it in. They've done that before, where Mahomes takes it out of the from under center and just turns and hands it off to. It's usually Hardman, but if it's Tony this week.
Oh,
get some points that way.
That's the downside to not playing it with one game. We're gonna have to have one like this, right? Where we're gonna have to throw a dart.
All right, I threw Hayden Hurst in there. We don't have to do Hayden Hurst, but I threw him in there just because he's cheap.
I think that probably is gonna be one of our better bets, right?
Mm-hmm. So we could go in this particular build. We could go Hayden Hurst. let me just see if we went Noah Gray, we could get up to Miles Sanders, which you talked about earlier,
Yep.
and just go 4 Phillies and say like Philly just routes them. So we could do something like that.
Which is possible.
Or you go Hurts, and now you're gonna have to go cheap at running back. P. Ryan, Boston Scott. I mean, they're not playing the Giants, so maybe not Boston Scott.
Yeah.
Or Jordan Mason.
I just get
Like
Jordan
that.
Mason. Look out! You're putting it into existence. We're gonna see Jordan Mason carries here. What was the first play that got us to Sanders? Who did we put in the flex to get us?
Noah. I went down to Noah Gray.
Noah Gray, which
just as a cheap flyer.
Yeah,
save the salary.
Man, that one's tough because you could. I say Sanders and Gray, but it's a tough one. I wouldn't be Hurst, and another flyer isn't terrible either.
Sanders and Gray. Let's look at that.
I don't know.
$100. I don't think there's a $4,500 guy either.
Oh wow!
So
Zach
I mean,
yeah.
But that's again. You're gonna have to find a cheap guy, because look at we're forcing the most expensive quarterback, Joe Mixon, who's 8,100, AJ Brown, and Travis Kelce. You got 4 guys over 8K, so it's a studs and duds type of lineup.
Yep.
I really don't hate it. I mean, there's no 49ers on this team, and it's so hard. It's so hard to build a 2-game slate without a guy from all 4 teams. Like, people just have to do that, right? Because like, well, what if the 49ers score a touchdown? Who's it going to be? I have to have somebody on the bring back. So just getting contrarian in this sense of like, maybe the Eagles put up 4 touchdowns and Jalen Hurts runs one in and throws 2 to AJ Brown, and maybe Miles Sanders scores. Maybe he doesn't. He just has 120 yards rushing. Boom. We might have the winning lineup. So that's a nice lineup. I don't mind that one at all. Just thinking a way to build that lineup with full Eagles. Let's see here. Purdy, goodness. Purdy, C-Mac, Ayuk, Mixon, Boyd. The rest of the team is Chase, Kittle, and Smith. Let's build a Purdy. Let's build one with Purdy.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's do we talked a little bit about it earlier with C-Mac and Joe Mixon. So let's force ourselves into that situation.
Oh.
Now, is this on FanDuel or DraftKings? Let us know. FanDuel or DraftKings, because if it's on FanDuel, I don't mind taking a look at what it looks like, but if it's on DraftKings, that obviously the salaries will be quite a bit different. Hide current. There we go. Let us know. But let's take a look at this. Oh, not Jimmy G.
It's good.
Man, don't do that on Sunday. Holy cow, they're the same price and everything. What the heck?
That's robbery. I hate when they do that.
Oh, get that guy out of here. Ooh, that would have been bad.
You might be if that hits though, you'll be literally the only person to play that lineup.
Jimmy G just falls out of the sky and is playing all of a sudden. Okay, that is the DraftKings team. But let's build something like this with Purdy, C-Mac, and Joe Mixon. We kind of both talked about not really loving the 49ers wide receivers. I don't really think that if we're saying C-Mac goes off, then I don't think I love Debo.
Right.
Right. If anything, just playing Purdy as a salary saver.
Yeah, and if anything, if it's a heavy C-Mac game, then it almost levels out the other San Fran receivers. At that point, you might be better off getting a salary saver in Jennings instead of an Ayuk, because all Jennings has to do is get lucky, and one of those 2 passes a game that he catches has to be in the end zone.
Yep.
But I would stay away from.
I think in a build like this, we could play the cheapest 4,000 Cincy guy. Yeah. Cincy defense. So really, I mean, 6,400. We're just at this point in time, we are heat seeking, trying to find the touchdowns with these. We're not really worried about. I don't think we're worried about teams as much as we're worried about like, okay, what player can score. So let's start on the cheap end at 6,400. Let's save salary first. Tyler Boyd, he's going to be highly owned, but he's going to, obviously always in the mix to potentially score a touchdown. MVS has not, he's been just I don't know. He's been a wind sprint guy. He's not really getting any targets. It doesn't seem. You talked about Jawan Jennings. Maybe he's the guy who we save some salary and go with him. Who do you think down here as a salary saver on this type of build? Jawan Jennings?
Yeah, that could be. I mean, we could go with that. I would love it. Enlighten me a little bit about your boy Sky Moore, because he is someone who I took a flyer in a dynasty league earlier this year, and I know that there's big play ability there. But are there enough snaps to even worth?
There's not. Okay. No, and honestly, so here's the deal. Take him down for a minute. Kadarius Toney. The guy only played like 20 snaps last week. But when he's in because they're going to get him the ball. Like there's a reason he's in there. Like 20 snaps, 20 rounds. Like there was something, he barely played. But when he plays, he is the focal point of that play. Okay. So that's really how they use Kadarius Toney. That's how they were using Sky Moore for a while. Then Kadarius Toney came in. They kind of just took over the Sky Moore / Mecole Hardman / Kadarius Toney role. Toney has pretty well owned that at this point. Every once in a while, they'll hit Sky Moore with a screen pass. He's very explosive, but he hasn't really found his footing here in the NFL yet. This would be a dart throw of all dart throws, and you're really just hoping that the one target he's been getting, that target goes 40 yards and a touchdown, but we haven't actually seen that. So I don't really trust him, and I wouldn't necessarily I would rather go Quez Watkins or Jawan Jennings, somebody we've seen it from recently, than all the way down to Sky Moore.
In that case, yeah, I definitely would go with Jawan. Then how much more expensive is Toney? Was he in the six?
Toney's 56
range, wasn't he? Oh, yep. 56. Okay. So he might end up here.
That leaves us 6,700. I mean, do we still just go the Kelsey route? It's so hard not to build Kelsey teams.
I'm gonna say, I would be. It's going to keep that wide receiver room very thin, but I'd love to try it. And then if we realize we just can't make it work, okay, we'll pivot. But yeah, I might do one Kelsey free lineup this week just to say I did it. But.
I think that in this lineup, we're choosing AJ Brown, Travis Kelsey, Jamar Chase. Like that's to me, but we're already saying Joe Mixon game. So maybe it's not a Jamar Chase game because Joe Mixon just grounds and pounds. And we're already saying it's a low scoring. That's why we go Purdy.
Yep. Because
we're saying both games are going low scoring. So I like the Kelsey play over Jamar Chase in that sense. But we'll see about this. All right. So we got $6,200 to play with. Toney, Tyler Boyd. I like Tyler Boyd.
What about Boyd? And then I think, Boyd's probably a good fit here. And then that gives you a little more wiggle room for either this spot or the flex. Can we get an Eagles guy to come back on Purdy and Christian McCaffrey and Jawan Jennings? Let's just go cheapest is Devontae Smith. Okay.
So we'll throw him in there just because he's cheapest. So it gives us 5,600. Which is actually fine because we don't really care about Ayuk in this build. We already said that. So that leaves us Toney, Hayden Hurst. If we want to go 2 tight end build, Kenneth Gainwell again. He had 100 yards, 115 or something like that last week.
That wouldn't be a bad. Yeah, which one are you feeling more comfortable with? If we're going with if we're going this route, we are saying low scoring either way. I mean, Gainwell?
Low
Sorry,
scoring either
as I
way.
squeak there.
I've got, San Francisco. I don't really like Tony in this build because we're playing the Bengals defense. So I kind of want that game to go low in that case.
Yep.
So, Hayden Hurst is
And you
fine,
have
but we're already
Kelsey.
playing Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon. So where's the ceiling, honestly, from that? So I think you're right. I think playing a guy like Kenneth Gainwell is a good play there.
I think that's the way to go with that one. Yeah, I like this lineup the more I look at it. Especially, I mean, of course, it has to fit. It has to fit the script you just wrote, but
right.
it's not one that I don't believe.
You'll learn. I tell stories every time I build a lineup. Like I got to figure out like what's actually happening on the field for this to work, because if it's not gonna, like, you know what I mean? Like I need there to actually be a story that this can tell.
And that way, if your story doesn't make any sense, you can maybe save yourself some money.
Right.
Like, wait a minute, this is too crazy, man.
Nobody's doing that. Right. And that's the one that hits. And you're like, dang it, why didn't I play? That's nice. All right. Just built a DK lineup. Purdy, McCaffrey, McKinnon, Juju, Ayuk, Boyd, Kelsey, Chase, 49ers. Ooh. So on DK, it allows you to get McCaffrey, Kelsey, and Chase. Maybe instead of a Joe Mixon, to go Jamar Chase. We could have had that. We could have done that as well, but we chose Mixon just for the low scoring. I do kind of like the Purdy. I like actually a lot of quarterback defense correlation this week because there's only 2 games.
Yeah.
And especially if you're thinking that one team just kind of goes off against the other. FanDuel lineup here from Joel: Hurts, Sanders, Mixon, Brown, Tony, Boyd, Kelsey, Jennings, Chiefs. So you're going Hurts, Sanders, Brown with a Jawan Jennings bring back, and then you're going Mixon, Tony, Kelsey, Chiefs.
I like that.
And Boyd on the second game. See, again, I assume you can't get to the Eagles defense, but in that situation, if I'm only playing Jawan Jennings, I'd rather just play the Eagles defense.
Right.
I assume you can't do that for salary reasons.
Yeah, Eagles is the most expensive. So it's probably just off by like a couple $100 or something. But yeah, the Eagles was more expensive than the Chiefs. But I like that lineup. Yeah, and like you said, in an ideal world, you could run with the Eagles on that. But I might. Thank you, Joel. I might throw a couple bucks into that lineup myself. Go ahead.
We'll send you a percentage of the winnings since you put it in the chat. Yeah. Let's hear what's up, Kyle. My man K Wild always dropping in once a show. Let me hear in the chat. I want to hear from you guys because we've kind of built 2 lineups that Kevin and I have talked about. Whether it's a quarterback, wide receiver, who do you want us to build around? First one I see in here, we'll throw in the lineup and we'll start building around that. While we wait on that, Kev, give us one bet right now, just a teaser, like just one bet that you like the most. It doesn't have to be big parlay or anything yet, but one bet you like so far while we wait. Again, chat, let us know one player you want us to build around.
Ooh, okay. All right. So I like to look, especially, as we talk about all stuff like this, when it comes to sports betting, I like to look at props. So I like to look at, alternate receiving yards, alternate rushing yards, something like that. And so what I've been looking at is, and now this would be part of bigger parlays, but we talked about Jawan Jennings a little bit. And as part of a parlay, I believe his over under was something like 25.5. And he has hit that in 6 of his last 9 games. He basically gets about two targets for 25 yards. So as a addition to a parlay, if you're looking for a little odds boost, I would say if you find Jennings in there, because again, I'm not going to say I do not put him in your FanDuel lineup unless he's your money saving. Don't build around him. But if you're looking at, what was that, 25?
Thanks for being here, Zach. Yeah,
appreciate it.
Plus 25.
Yes, yeah, 25 plus yards. What is he? Plus 140 on there. I
Yeah.
love that as an add to a parlay. And then now this is where I don't know what you guys like to do. So let me know in the chat if you guys do this. What I like to do, I like to make alternate spreads on here or props here, forgive me, but because and then I just kind of string them together. Your odds might go down a tad where you might have a couple of bets where your odds are negative, but then it's the parlay itself that is where you can cash out. So I would also want to look at I haven't had a chance to look at our receiving props here on FanDuel, but that is another place I'd want to take a look because I think we've got other options outside of just the San Francisco game. But that was the first place I looked because I do think there's going to be some easy money right there.
I like that. Plus 140. I really don't mind just playing it by itself as well.
Yeah, it's a fun
It's
little
good
like
odds.
low stakes bet, just
I'm probably not going to put a lot of money on it, but put a half unit or so up there and see what happens that first game. I also like to I'll probably put a lot, like just in general, I'll probably bet a lot more on the first game than the second game just because of fandom, like my own, like I don't want to be sweating bets while also sweating the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. But that's one I kind of like. And you can just go down here on FanDuel and scroll down to receiving props to alternate receiving yards. So not hard to find there on FanDuel. All right, nobody's going to give us somebody to build around. So we're going to build around ourselves. We've already built a Purdy and a Hurts lineup. So let's build a Mahomes lineup.
Yeah.
See what that looks like. And what I would like to do, I would like to build a Mahomes lineup. This game goes off. Here we go. Oh, all right, we can do this.
A Chiefs.
Come on now. We'll do it. We're going to do this. All right. Build a lineup around a Chiefs Bengals stack without Travis Kelce. So what I was going to say is I want to build a lineup that says this game goes off. So the first game is more of a defensive battle, which like for me, I want to play like Miles Sanders and Eagles defense and just potentially leave it at that and just put 7 guys from the second game and really onslaught the second game. I just kind of want to see what that looks like. So Miles Sanders, Eagles defense, nobody else from the 49ers, just this game, slugfest, whatever, goes low. So going back to the second game, if it's going to shoot out, to me, that takes Joe Mixon out of the equation because I think Joe Mixon slows the game down. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. I don't know. I mean, snap wise, I would have to look. Like, I don't know that it would entice me to want to play more P. Ryan, but it would definitely keep me away from Mixon.
Yeah.
He might be out there, but I don't expect him to all of a sudden catch a bunch of balls. And yeah, so I would steer clear of Mixon in this scenario. I'd rather have
McKinnon, right? I mean, just saying it's going to be a pass heavy. We had to play Hurst because we can't play. I don't have to. Jody Fortune. We can play Noah Gray, but let's just put Hurst in there for now. And then really, this is where if we're not going to play Kelce, the question sits around what wide receiver from the Chiefs to play. And in this case, I think it's okay to play 2 wide receivers because we're not like we're saying Kelce gets shut down. They put 2 or 3 guys on Kelce, whatever they have to do to shut him down. Do you have a lean on your favorite Chiefs wide receiver? I know we talked a lot about Tony. I know we've talked a little bit about Noah Gray.
Yeah.
Talked some Sky Moore. We haven't really talked a lot of Juju.
We haven't. But
the man does have a ceiling and he can get it done. It just feels like he hasn't gotten it done a lot.
And that's I think that would be in this narrative. I think that would be my play. I agree with you. We have not I don't know what
targets, 2 targets, 3 targets.
Yeah,
like this it's been a bad end of the season for him, especially for a guy on a 1-year contract.
Yes, it was not. I agree, but maybe this is he's done it before. That's the other thing too. Like we know that he has that pedigree. I don't know that he'll ever be that guy again for a full season slate. But for this game, for our needs, if you're asking me what's one guy that could all of a sudden turn into a 10 target machine for the Chiefs for one game, I don't know who else in that wide receiver core I'd want to pick. But you know this team better, so I'm going to lean on your opinion here. But is it MVS?
Well, the hard thing is not it's almost more of a want than an opinion, right? Like I want Juju to be a part of the freaking game plan and show up, man. But I don't know if he actually will. But I do agree. In this situation, if it's not Travis Kelce, that's what we're saying with this lineup build, because we can't play Kelce in it. Who is it going to be for the Chiefs? And quite frankly, if we're doing a Chiefs-Bengals stack, maybe we should have went Burrow and just stacked up the Bengals. It would have been easier, but I kind of like the more difficult stack here just to make us think outside the box a little bit. Yeah. It's got to be Juju, right? I do think that if we're looking at Tony versus MVS, this is why I'm going to give an MVS take, because MVS is he's the sprinter. He is the cross-country runner. He's the one logging all the air yards because he runs 50 yards down the field and Mahomes launches it to him, right? We're playing seven players from this game. We're saying this game speeds up. MVS is a guy that speeds up the game. Kadarius Toney is going to get his touches around the goal line. Kadarius Toney is going to get his screens, but Kadarius Toney isn't going to potentially open up the game like an MVS would. MVS could catch the 50-yard bomb one time, and this game really opens up, and then the scoring floodgates open. That's why I would go MVS in this build over a Kadarius Toney.
I like that. That makes sense. You know, I'm keeping my hopes up for one Tony end around this week, but
that's right. Yeah, that's all right. We can do that. All right, so that leaves us 8,800. So play whoever you want. I mean, we can't get. Yeah, we can. We can get C-Mac in there too if we actually really wanted to.
Would you look at that?
I don't mind that. I mean, Jamar Chase. Obviously, if we don't want to play C-Mac, we just want to stay on what we talked about. We could go Higgins. But I think if we're playing Chase, Hurst, and Higgins, it might be hard not to play Burrow in that situation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because if you're doing that, you might as well, right? You're gonna.
Yeah. I kind of like.
I think. I mean, go C-Mac. I wasn't expecting to have this as an option.
I didn't either. So it's Miles Sanders, Christian McCaffrey, the Philadelphia Eagles defense on the first game, and then it's all second game after that. We go 4-2 with Mahomes, McKinnon, Juju, MVS, Jamar Chase, Hayden Hurst on the bringbacks. That's how you build an entire game, like a lineup around an entire game.
I like that. I did not expect that to go as well as it did. Are we cheating by having C-Mac in there with it? I mean, it's still a Chiefs-Bengals stack, right?
Look at to be able to put Chase and C-Mac in there when you don't play Kelce. When you don't play Kelce, it really does open up a lot. Because we don't have any duds, right? We're not playing a Noah Gray or Jordan Mason in this. We're not playing anybody sub 5K because we're not playing Kelce.
Yeah, it
almost makes me think less people might play Kelce because of this.
Well, I would hope for that. I won't be mad about it.
I won't either. But just working through this, I'm like, it's actually easier to build without Kelce than it is to build with Kelce.
Yeah, it's a tough one because he is clearly the play that you want at tight end. But yeah, like you said, it really unlocks a lot of options here. I like that lineup. I'm surprised we were able to get that much mileage with that, but
yeah.
Well, I think I feel like we've got to do a Bengals stack, right?
Yeah, and
I had the one, and this was the one that I don't know. I'm calling it weird because I think only one of these two things should happen. So we don't have to do it if we don't want to, but I had seen a video that had said that someone had suggested stacking Burrow and Mixon, and I wanted to see what that could look like, although it won't be my first option to do it necessarily. And I wanted to know, Trevor, what your thoughts were, A, on would you want to do this, but then B, just for fun, can we do one just to see what it looks like?
Oh yeah, let's do one. I have been more prone to putting my running backs in with my quarterbacks more often than not than I use, at least more often than I used to. Also on a short game or a short slate, I do it even more often. The reason that I don't like this one is that Joe Mixon just doesn't catch the passes that some of these other running backs do. Purdy, C-Mac, absolutely love that. C-Mac's going to catch the ball 6 to 10 times. Like, heck yeah, I want to stack that up, right? Mahomes, McKinnon. McKinnon's like the goal line wide receiver for this team. So, yes, I love doing that. Dak and Tony Pollard, Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley. So, I've definitely done a lot of these quarterback running back stacks. Joe Mixon just doesn't do – I mean, he had 5 catches in round 1, so maybe I'm wrong. But he just doesn't catch the ball as much as we'd like him to week in and week out. You can see here last time they played the Chiefs. Maybe he's going to – P. Ryan.
That was a P. Ryan.
I forgot about that.
P. Ryan had a day.
But P. Ryan is the third down back. P. Ryan's the guy that comes in. Now, if we're going to play this route, to me, it's a Bengals win this game 31-20, 31-24, something like that. And it works because Joe Mixon rushes for 120 yards and finds pay dirt one time. And Joe Burrow throws for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Right? So they score 31 points. 3 of them come from Joe Burrow's arm. Joe Mixon also has a great game. So it's not really the pass catching that I would rather have, but it could work for sure.
Kind of a little bit like how last week played out. You would see a little bit of that script because didn't Mixon have close to 150 last week? It was like over 120
last week. And Joe Burrow did fine. He only had 2 touchdowns, but you think about it, you add one more really good drive in there, you end up with 250 yards and a 3rd touchdown. So I don't mind that. If you're gonna do a Burrow Cincy running back, it's gotta be P. Ryan, 3rd down back. Hope the Chiefs control the ball and Bengals throw it 50 times. And this is a different way to build as well, right? You don't go the Mahomes route. Maybe you're throwing in Mixon and Kelsey or Pacheco and Kelsey, just expecting them to score the touchdowns, and Mahomes doesn't throw for 4 touchdowns, but the Chiefs lead the game the whole time. I could do something like that. Let's build the Burrow Mixon lineup, and then maybe we can come back and try to build a lineup looks like this real quick.
Perfect,
so what quarterback what wide receiver are we rolling out here? Are we going the big dog and Jamar Chase with Joe Burrow?
Well, I wonder. If we're going with that sort of narrative that we just went with, there is some room for Jamar, but I think that means he's not hitting his ceiling, right? If this game goes based on our script. So does that make AJ Brown our play? Because it's a completely different game. So we could just be banking on, what I've said before of both our hopes that they're going to take the top off the Niners defense a couple of times. What would you think? I personally, I think I'm going to lean AJ Brown, but I think we could go either way here still.
I'm good with AJ Brown. I think if we go AJ Brown, then we probably need to jam in T. Higgins as some sort of pass catcher for Joe Burrow. Still expecting in this game script, Joe Burrow still throwing 250 and potentially 3. Thinking about them scoring 4 touchdowns. So if that was the case, I still would like a pass catcher and maybe even maybe we go Higgins and Boyd. Boyd's a pretty good, touchdown guy around the goal line. And the Chiefs just kind of cover up Jamar Chase because they're sick and tired of him beating their ass. So they just screw this guy. We're going to do everything we can to stop him. And then T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd score the touchdowns.
Say anyone else can beat us.
Right.
Okay.
So something like that. I don't mind that. And then you bring in AJ Brown, the big dog, in the first game. Now we're not going to be able to play Christian McCaffrey. We're probably not going to be able to play Travis Kelce in this build. You're not going to want to play the Chiefs defense. So I'd probably go back. Maybe we just play You could probably just play the 49ers, just save the salary. Can't play the Bengals. Just play the salary. They're all going to be 25% owned. So
yeah, that's fair.
what does it matter? Tight end. Let's see. If we put Kelsey in there, it takes us down to 5,500. So I guess we potentially could do that. But let's think about running back next. Do we want to bring back a Kansas City running back here, or do we want to avoid that? What are your thoughts here on the second running back?
That one's tough. So we haven't talked about Pacheco much today. So now seems like a good time to at least talk about him. What
Big game last week?
Yeah. What game fits? What's the game that fits a Pacheco's big day kind of like? What's the game need to look like for Pacheco to be the play here?
Probably closer to this, where it's a Burrow lineup with he's chasing, and it's Pacheco, scoring one on the ground. Maybe there's been times that Pacheco and Mixon have felt really good together, where all the touchdowns, like Mahomes fails in fantasy terms because he throws like one touchdown, and then Pacheco and Mixon both get 2 to 3 touchdowns, total. So that's kind of, that's kind of the way I would look at it. I think even the one that we're building right now, I think is still fine to throw Pacheco in here, saying, the Chiefs are still going to have to keep scoring, and maybe he finds the goal line touchdown 1 or 2 times.
Okay. It sounds like, though, if you had to debate between the two, then probably based on this game that we're building out, it's probably McKinnon here, though, right? Because our strategy is that the Bengals are going to be the ones that take that lead and run the ball a lot, and that the Chiefs will be playing catch up. So, okay, I mean, I'm good either way here. I definitely, we've talked about all
even
these
a back
games.
and forth, like, just a back and forth. Burrow and Mahomes are going back and forth, but Burrow's throwing 3 touchdowns where Mahomes isn't, whatever, and that's where the handoff to a guy like Tony or a Pacheco McKinnon. So I don't mind Pacheco in here. It leaves us 6,600 still.
Okay.
To kind of play that route. So if we put Kelsey in there now, can't do that. This could be, one of the ones that we just get weird and say a guy like Noah Gray finds the end zone. Because the Chiefs do that. Like I keep bringing him up, but the Chiefs do this, and they will throw him the ball.
Oh, as a non-Chiefs fan who
not often
strictly for fantasy purposes, I have screamed at my television because Noah Gray looks a lot like Travis Kelce at a glance. You're like, oh yeah, no, it's not. Oh no,
like, dang it, who's that guy?
Foiled.
Why has he only got 4 letters back there, not 5? Yeah. Let's put Noah Gray in here. At least it's at 8,800 again. So.
Ooh, which puts Jamar back in play, doesn't it?
Could you go? What if we went Jamar? What if we just took Jamar and didn't take Boyd? It just went like full on premium Bengals stack.
Why not? It's hard.
That leaves us like Kenneth Gainwell, MVS, Juwan Jennings, Quez Watkins in that first game, something like that.
I'm good with either. I mean, we've played the Gainwell one previously. That fits here if we go with the AJ Brown, the idea that potentially the Eagles just get up early. And also if it looks a lot like last game and maybe it's Gainwell. What was the other one you had there? You had Quentin, you had Quez Watkins, and MVS was your other option, right?
Yeah, MVS.
We haven't.
MVS fits the Burrow a lot more, just pushing Burrows more.
Okay,
but it's not like a must, But
let's do that. I like that. Plus, we've already had Kenneth Gainwell, mad science going on here.
That's right. You got that premium Bengal stack. That's pretty sick. I don't know. That's 2 Chiefs Bengals games that we stacked without Kelsey, though. That kind of feels bad.
Hey, I just think that's, we're getting creative here. We are really pressing the boundaries, stretching our skills here. And hey,
Eagles
according to Lee,
it's 20-17 Niners. Not a good fantasy game.
Yep.
Not a good fantasy game. Burrow, Pacheco, Sanders, Tony, Chase, Higgins, Kelsey, MVS, Eagles, 100 left over. So you got the Sanders Eagles stack here. And you got the Burrow premium double stack. You just don't have Mixon in there.
Okay.
So going from Mixon down to Sanders allows you to go from the 49ers defense up to the Eagles defense, which I like a lot too.
Wow. Yeah, I'd play that too. I like that one.
I like this. I like having Chase and so I guess what I've learned from this exercise tonight, quite frankly, is that you're going to be able to play 2 or 3 guys over 8K. You can play C-Mac and Kelsey. You can play AJ Brown and Jamar Chase together. And that kind of feels like that's where it's going to be. That's going to be the game changer. We talk a lot about the quarterbacks, but the quarterbacks could all end up at 25 points. And what I mean? Yep. But it kind of feels like getting these very top pass catching, running back, wide receiver, tight ends. It feels like that's going to be where you have to get it right this weekend.
Yep. Got to get the right combo.
These 8K guys, you're going to be able to play 2 of them. Which 2 are going to smash?
That is the question.
You're doing the Burrow double stack. You're assuming Mixon won't get a ton of carries. And that's
absolutely
the one that we did play, ran just this one here is just saying the game goes off and everybody's getting theirs. But yeah, I would say most times out of that, you're playing that. And if you're playing the Burrow double stack, you're probably playing quite a bit of Chiefs, saying that they're either the Chiefs are pushing them without Mahomes getting there. Mahomes isn't getting there. You're probably getting 17 catches from or 17 targets from Kelsey like he did last week. And you're probably getting a Pacheco or Mixon touchdown. So that's the way I would look at that. That's where I look. All right. We've been doing this for a while now. So let's talk a little bit about a couple of bets here. If you're in the chat, let us know your favorite bet of the weekend. Let us know your favorite bet of the weekend. And I think, are we gonna build a parlay with our favorite bets here?
Yeah, let's do it. Absolutely.
Let's just look what a parlay would look like with our favorite bets. I will let you start with your first favorite bet of the weekend.
Okay, let's see. I'm pulling it up here on my phone too, so I can follow along. We can start with my my simple little Jennings, my alt receiving prop if you want, and then we can build a little parlay from there. Because I like to do this, just for full disclosure, kind of similarly to what we've just done here. I like my parlays will tell a story, right? So if we're gonna, I do like to stick same game parlay a lot of the time. Nothing drives me nuts than to get everything right about one game and then have something from another game get it wrong. So I don't know, to each their own, but a lot of this stuff I would be looking at would be same game, but we can absolutely do parlays that cross over both. However you guys want to do it. But
let's do a same game parlay here this first game. And if I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, I'm going Eagles -2.5.
Eagles -2.5.
Yeah.
That's that trap.
I know, but I think Purdy's time is done. It's whatever.
Agreed.
It's been a nice run, but no rookie has ever taken their team to the Super Bowl. It's not going to be Mr. Irrelevant. The Niners were exposed a little bit last week. Dak just couldn't get it done. Jalen Hurts and company, I think they're destined this year.
And they've won. Now, and I've kind of come full circle on this, admittedly, because earlier in the regular season, I was giving them a hard time for winning close games against the likes of Houston and Indianapolis. But the fact of the matter is that they win close games. Yeah. And with that, I think I'm okay with it. I'm nervous once that whole trap narrative has been set, but I agree with this. Yeah, let's start with this. I'll take their spread. And anytime touchdown score. Now, this one, And if anybody who's new to this game, I apologize to those of you pros out there who know what I'm talking about, but this does not include the passer of the touchdown. I know many a first-time bettor who has been burned by this. You have to carry the ball over the goal line.
In there, like throw Brock Purdy plus 700. Of course, he's going to throw a touchdown.
Yeah, right. Oh, I'm going to make so much money. These guys are dumb, but no, it's hey. Everybody's a newbie at one point, so I wanted to throw it out there. Who do you think is the most guaranteed touchdown of the day? Because this is where I don't know. I liked it. The thing about a parlay, you can make some really safe decisions and string them together and still up your odds. So we don't have to get too wild here unless you want.
Yeah, I mean, I it's easy to just say Christian McCaffrey at minus 130, but I actually am a little bit worried about this calf, and he was not on the field often last week. And so when they get around the goal line, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit more Debo than we do Christian McCaffrey. That's going to take me right back to our boy that we've talked about over and over this week. I absolutely love A.J. Brown this week.
Yeah. Dude,
I'm all in on him.
Absolutely. I think so. And and we're going to be having a great Monday if we get all these right. Yeah.
That's right.
I love it. AJ. Okay. So, what else? We want to do? We want to do a 4?
Let's do a 4,
okay.
and maybe a fit. We'll pick a 4th. If the chat can get one more bet in here for the Eagles 49ers game only, anybody can throw a bet in there. If they can throw it in there, we'll include it. But let's do a 4th here as well.
Okay, so we've got Eagles Brown and we've got Jennings. Ooh, this was a tough one. Do we want to look at what's the spread for Miles Sanders rushing yards? Something I hit on earlier in the playoffs was a parlay that included taking the under on Austin Eckler rushing at 52.5. So this might be a spot where I would take Miles Sanders
49.5.
49.5. I honestly, I might take his over on that one though. Like I don't think he'll get much more than that. What do you think? We might need to pull up some stats. I'm
a little worried about this 49ers defense. Just in general. Let me pull up my my teamrankings.com site that I love this site. It's got all the stats. I'm just going to look up rushing defense here because I'm pretty sure that San Francisco is one of the best, if not the 79 yards per game, second best to your favorite team, the Tennessee Titans, right? That's your favorite team?
Yes.
Second best in the NFL at 79 rushing yards per game is what they give up during the season. I mean, can Miles Sanders get 5/8 of that?
I changed my mind. Get me back on the under. Yeah, I want to see. I take me back to the under on that one. But yeah, based on he just feels like a 50 yard game. But yeah, no. I'm back on the under with that one. I had heard a good.
Or do you like the just passing on that one and maybe find?
I mean, we could just pass on that one as well. Yeah, because I had earlier in the day was talked into the over, so maybe we'll just avoid it and I can come back to it. But is there one on the we already have AJ as a touchdown score, but yardage wise, is there anyone? Do you want to look at Jalen's passing yards maybe?
I think it's like 260 247. 247. I'm gonna hit the same exact place real fast. Because I don't think he's going to be able to run as much. So I do think they're going to have to rely on the passing.
It's you
San Francisco gave up 230 passing yards, but again, some of those were, against like Seattle and Arizona. We got to remember some of the teams that they were playing also. So I don't mind that. I also don't mind the Brock Purdy under 218. I just don't think that.
Hey, there we go.
I don't think he's gonna have a very good game. I just don't.
Let's go with that because I don't know. I like taking the under, everyone. I don't know, but what do you guys? I don't know what you guys play, but not a lot of folks that I run with are always like pushing the under. Yeah, it's not the sexy play. It's not the exciting play. I bet this game's gonna be more boring.
Cowboys last week, 178 against the Cardinals. 234 against Washington. So Seattle, he went off. He had all his weapons back, but I mean, Seattle's defense has been pretty horrid, honestly.
I remember if those of you who got to catch that game, there were some blown coverages. There was a bit of a joke. Let's hope hope Brock Purdy probably won't have that many wide open receivers in the divisional round. And although he still performed, that was a bit of an anomaly.
I think that George Kittle one that's almost the same. So 5 out of the 8 games he has played in, started and finished, he's gone under 218. So that feels okay. Now you're playing against a really good Philly defense, top 10 in yards per game against the passer. So that one feels okay to me.
There we go.
If we parlay this bad boy together, just for fun here, we are Jawan Jennings 25 plus, Philly minus 2.5, AJ Brown anytime touchdown, Brock Purdy under 218.5 passing yards. The chat decided not to join in on this fun, so I'm going to go ahead and lay $5 wins. Screw it. Let's do 10. $10 wins you $212. This is on my computer, so it's not gonna let me lay this thing, but I'm laying this thing. Rest assured. I'll do it on my phone.
I will be too on my phone. Yeah, I'll be locking that in. I like that one.
Come on now. I don't know why it won't let me. I have my location settings turned on too, but anyways, either way. All right, let's do one more for the second game. How about that?
Perfect. Yeah, I like that a lot. We want to do another four leg parlay. We can start
parlay.
We can start with the spread again if you'd like. I know that's always fun. That's where a lot of people like to start.
Man, I will tell you, yes, we can do that. I am so upset with myself. All at the beginning of the week, it was plus 108, plus 108. I'm like, I should just lay the Chiefs. And I just didn't. And what? I saw this
February. What?
Chiefs 49ers, huh?
Okay.
I don't know why they're on there, but
okay. They're just prep. They're just ready. They're all options.
They are. First, what kind of odds would you get with the Kittle's first touchdown?
Well, first touchdown scores. Did you see that someone laid a parlay last weekend that all 4 games would have a tight end score the first touchdown?
75,000. Well, somebody had Chase instead, and he won $75K.
Oh yeah. There was somebody else that didn't go only the tight ends and actually got it right. That hit the 70. Yeah, and then I don't know, guys. I would always say cash out if you're up 600. What you've got, and you're just cash out. You've won.
They're gonna get it. Yeah. I mean, obviously, getting the 75,000 is pretty nice too, but. Yeah, first touchdown score for George Kittle is plus 1,100. For those of you at home that don't do a quick math like me, $10 wins you $110. George Kittle first touchdown. Joel, who's your first touchdown for the Chiefs? We'll throw it in here.
Okay.
Who's the first touchdown? For each game. Okay, so you're saying parlay each game.
Okay.
We can do that.
Let's do that. First touchdown. All right.
Touchdown. Joel, give us one of them. Maybe we'll pick the other one.
This is an interesting one. I'm gonna think about it here for a second while we wait for Joel's and come up with some candidates here, because it really is going to depend on so many things. It's all coming down to a coin.
Jalen Hurts. Yeah, that's right. Jalen Hurts. McKinnon earlier.
I like
all right,
McKinnon.
We can do McKinnon.
I like McKinnon or Kelsey for the first touchdown score in that game. So let's go with McKinnon. That would probably have better odds, right?
Yeah, for sure. I would assume. Let's go here. McKinnon. Oh yeah, plus 1,000. I might just do that just in general.
Exactly. That's worth $1, right?
$10 wants me 100. I can do that. All right, so
what about Philly and San Fran?
I'm thinking like Hurts. Like, what if he just
QB sneak?
Like, seriously,
best QB sneak quarterback in the game.
They use him around the goal line quite a bit. I think I would go Hurts or I'd go back to AJ Brown. Like I think one of those two guys would be my pick. And we took AJ Brown in the first one, so maybe
Let's
we
do
take
Hurts.
Hurts.
Yeah, it stands to reason. If they score from outside the red zone, it's likely to be AJ Brown. If they score from inside the red zone, if they get into a goal line situation, it stands to reason they're going to call
their odds are the same. They got the same odds, and they're the best odds outside of Christian McCaffrey. So we obviously aren't terrible.
Ooh, Joel throws Goddard into the mix. That's going to cash if you get it.
Man, I don't know.
You have a good rest of the day.
I'm not a great sports bettor, but I don't know about Goddard. I was all in on Dalton Schultz a couple weeks ago. Man, I should have played for 2 touchdowns because he got 2 of them. I was all in on that tight end, but I don't know about the tight end there. The tight ends had a great week last week.
Let's
avoid the tight ends this week.
Yeah,
for first touchdowns, that is.
If it's not Hurts for the first touchdown, I'd go like I said. Obviously, the outside of the red zone would be Brown, but it's either Hurts or Sanders to me. I think would be the other option. And
Sanders didn't get a touchdown last week. Maybe they try to get it to him this week.
Or maybe if they
get a little bit more juice with that one.
Yeah. But yeah, if
so
you get within a yard,
out $10,000. So $10 pays you $1,090. I could actually just go down to $5 on that one. I'd be fine with $500 on that one.
See, I'm the kind of guy who will make that and just put $1 on it and just forget that I ever bet it, and then just say, it won't be the only bet that I make that day, but
right. But you win $100 if it goes through.
Yeah. See, that's where I'm still in that phase where I can scratch this itch at a healthy, cheap cost.
That's right.
I'm letting my degeneracy. I'm not trying to raise the temperature any sooner than I need to.
I don't mind that. I don't mind that. All right, we got Jerick McKinnon and Miles Sanders. Got to snap this photo so I can lay that one too. Putting $1 on it to win 100.
Let's go.
Let's do it. All right, let's do a 1 Chiefs Bengals single game parlay. Four bets we're doing here. 4 bets. Somebody give us your favorite bet. Kev, do you mostly do 3 and 4 team parlays? Single game parlays.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I tend to do 3 and 4 leg same game parlays is what I like to do. So yeah, those are my preference. And then I'll do honestly last week I would have done a parlay for each game, right? One for each throughout the regular season. I'm usually picking primetime matchups to do stuff like this. But maybe throw a 7 or 8 in there every once in a while if you really like what you're looking at. But one day we'll talk NBA parlays, boys, but that's a different show.
That's right. NBA, The Bounce, every Thursday night right here on Stadium Rant.
That's right.
See, that's all we got to do there. Okay, I'm going to start this one. I'm hitting the over.
Okay, let's go.
Every 27-24, the last 2 times these teams met, the game before that was 34-31. So every one of these games have gone over 48. I don't see why this one won't as well.
I am taking that money. What about, do you want to do an anytime touchdown for this one?
Yeah.
Stay only
on one game.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, because otherwise it kills me. I had a buddy in the wild card week. He took my advice on a 4-leg parlay about the Chargers-Jags game. I told him, take the under for Eckler, anytime touchdown score for Eckler, take the over for ETN in rushing yards, take the over for Ingram and Gerald Everett in receiving yards. He did all that, and then he took the Bills to win by 2 touchdowns, and he didn't win any money because he added one other thing to the parlay. I don't know. If you can get that much right about one game, just let it be. Just do that. You got it. You've won. And then
you're just betting. It's kind of like what we talked about with DFS. You're just betting on one game to hit. You only have to get one game right, and you're hitting it, right?
Yeah.
You have to get a couple guys right on that game, but you're not having to focus on multiple games. It's honestly why I don't really like I love the playoff slates, but man, that divisional round or that wild card round when you're starting on Saturday and you're not ending until Monday, it's a grind because you're like, oh my gosh, I had a great Saturday, but then Monday night you don't win any money.
That's why, conversely, guys, so I'm not sounding like I didn't bet anything other than Chargers Jaguars wildcard weekend, because I do also, to shout out more for Stadium Rant, I do cover the AFC South as a writer for that. So I bet on what I had been researching all week, and I just stuck to that. And the games that I didn't know, I just stayed.
Stay away.
I didn't donate my money that week. Just bet what I know.
All right. So what do you know here about anytime touchdown score?
Ooh, there's got to be someone on your team that feels like a guaranteed touchdown this week, but I think he's also right there at the top with the worst odds.
Kelsey feels guaranteed. If we want to get some juice, McKinnon at plus 155 feels really good. I talked a lot about him today. Honestly, some of these player props go hand in hand with some DFS stuff. Like, we've talked about guys we love during DFS, and now we're talking bets, and we've talked AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Travis Kelce,
Jerick
McKinnon, like guys that we love for DFS as well. But I think Jerick McKinnon feels pretty strong. I would say Joe Mixon feels pretty strong.
Yes,
I think he has scored a touchdown in 2 of the 3 games against the Chiefs. Travis Kelce scored a touchdown in 2 of the 3 games against the Bengals. Or I guess Joe Mixon 2 of 2 actually, because he didn't play this year. So, but P. Ryan scored a touchdown this year. So it's kind of like they've scored in every game.
Yeah, I'm seeing some Tony chat in the chat. There was that 250.
Tony has some good juice. How much on Tony? Yeah, 250 for Kadarius Tony. That is not going to play.
Yeah. That would be one, honestly, and that's what I love about anything that's plus 250 like that. Even if you don't love it, or if you're scared to play it in your parlay, just throw a few bucks on that one as a solo, or let's make a little 2-piece parlay, whatever you want. Yeah, so let's go with Choney. Yeah, Choney. It's easy for me to say.
Let's put Choney on there. Put some Choney on there.
That's true, Joel. Yep. A little end around for Tony in the red zone, right? I've been asking for, but we've been talking about it a little bit.
That's what we want, especially if we don't play Mahomes and we play Tony. Just give a little end around. Usually, I love playing Patrick Mahomes over rushing props in the playoffs because he runs a ton. Obviously, want to stay away from that this week with the ankle. But I do just want to take a look at what it looks like, just because it could be super low. I guess it's not even going to give me that option, is it? Well, son of a gun. This is just, let me go to rushing props here.
Yeah, there you go. I was going to say, I never do it on my actual desktop.
Still don't, he's not showing up.
Do they have alt? Who are we looking for?
I was looking for Mahomes just to see what his rushing prop.
They don't have Mahomes.
He runs so much in the playoffs. I don't expect him to run a lot, but I just kind of want to take a peek at it to see what it would look like.
Yeah, no, you should be able to. I'll see if let me scroll on the phone real quick, because there should be. Usually, there's a whole section for alternative odds where you can set your own, which is another thing to do once you play around with this stuff and you have fun with it. If there's something that like. Like, I know this guy's going to get 100 yards today. I just know it. It might not be a prop that's there for you, but you can make it yourself. At least you can on the phone most of the
player
time.
Total receptions here for Kelce is 6.5.
Ooh, 6.5. What do you like about that?
Oh God, let's.
I'm taking the
guy had like 12 last week.
Yeah, what was it? 17 targets.
14 catches last week.
Give me 6.5.
6.5. So 1, 2, 3 out of the last 5 games, he's gone over 6.5. Only 4 catches against Cincinnati last time, but I just said it earlier on the stream about his last 3 games against Cincinnati. Other than that, last year he went 10 for 95 and a touchdown. So, and that was the only playoff game, right? So I would assume Andy's going to dial it up for him. So I don't mind that. Let's throw that one in there as well. Over 6.5. I'll let you take the last one here.
Man, I was just you're not. Yeah, just to double check. They really don't have Pat Mahomes alt rushing yards right now. Sorry, I went to check on my phone
I
because
wonder if it's
I
just
know
because
that
they weren't.
interface
They're
better.
not sure, like they don't have it. I wouldn't be shocked if they have all Mahomes rushing props off the books. That makes sense. Okay, that's
That
exactly
would
what I
be
was getting
fair.
at.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know what to do with it. So why would they lose money?
Right. Yeah.
Why would they lose money? How much pass completions for Burrow?
Ooh, I
I'm
like
not
that.
going to say we're going to use this one, but let's look at that one. Passing props. I want to know passing completions 25.5. Would you take the over or under 25.5? Burrow 25.5 passing completions. Mahomes is also there. So let us know in the chat. You asked for it. How much pass completions for Burrow? 25.5. Are you taking the over or under on that one?
Let us know.
Kev, what do you think here? Fourth one.
Let me see. We have over 48. We have Tony anytime touchdown. We have Kelsey over 6.5 receptions. Lee says over for the Burrow completions, and I tend to agree with that
Over
take.
for Joel as well.
I agree with you both. You know what? Let's throw that one in there. Let's see what that looks like for this parlay.
Let's do it. It is that one cannot be combined in the parlay.
Oh, never mind then. Let's throw you guys throw money on that one solo. We'll try. I'll throw a couple bucks on that. We'll keep track of that one. Let's see. What do we want to look at? We have over under, we have touchdowns, we have receiving yards. We want to look at some over under on rushing yards, see if there's anything that attracts us there.
Rushing props.
Maybe we are looking at an over under. I mean, is anything what about like Pacheco interests me here, right? Does he have a favorable over under on yards? What do you think? What's that, 49.5?
No, I don't. I mean, off the top of my head, I don't think so.
It feels like a really good line,
week, but he had one really, really big run, and that was like it,
Yeah.
So he has hit the over on this. If we're looking at I mean, I guess he's hit the over a ton. 1, 2, 3,
like
4,
that over.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the last 10 games. He has gone over that mark, which is quite surprising. It sucks because he doesn't have a huge ceiling because he doesn't really find the end zone often, and he doesn't really break 100 ever. But in terms of rushing props, he has gone over this 48.5 prop.
And that's where
the last 10 games. So
it could be, and that could be one of those sneaky prop plays because a lot of people don't see it because, as you said, they're not seeing the fantasy output. They're not seeing like the big numbers from Pacheco, so they're not thinking to include him in their parlay. So this could be a good one here to take. I would take the over.
Let's do it.
I like that one a lot. And then let's see. Was it Joel said McKinnon over under 63.5 rushing plus receiving yards? Wow.
Yeah, minus 14.
Well, I like that. I mean,
I want to know though, Joel, do you expect them to use him in the passing game a lot? Because I feel like McKinnon, he's so valuable in DFS because of the touchdown scoring. They haven't really used him a lot in the open field. Do you just expect them to lean on him a little bit more than Pacheco this game? That's kind of what I'm wondering for that over. They won't let us put this over in the single game parlay, but it is a good bet potentially. Just kind of curious on your thoughts behind that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Pacheco in here. We got plus 13.88. So $1 wins us 13. So we don't have anything too spicy on this one.
Yeah,
but that's all right.
Sometimes I think for me anyway, it's a healthy balance of bland and spicy because it doesn't a couple of unsexy wins helps keep money in the bank for some of those more bold losses. He's gonna play a ton because he can pass block better. Yeah, that is agreed. And then there's also that whole thing. I know I made a bit of a joke about it earlier, but it was an amazing play. That little flick of the wrist for 32-yard touch. It only takes one of those. It only takes one broken coverage. Out 40 yards.
That was back when McKinnon was like 4,800 on Fanduel, and I played him against Denver that week. And after that happened, then he scored again, and I was sweating 1,000. I was sweating a $10 to 1,000. Like that was like the first time I'd actually told my wife, like, oh my God, I might actually like win $1,000 here. She was like, oh, whatever, like this isn't gonna happen. I'm like, and then it just kept happening. I'm like, oh God. Ended up I think it was Christian McCaffrey actually ended up with like a late touchdown, ended up in third place. I still cashed for like $700, $690, I think, that week. But I was so close, and it was all because I just played a Mahomes, McKinnon, Kelsey stack against the Broncos, and it almost worked out for me. It almost worked out for me. I didn't have Jerry Jeudy on that team. That was the Jerry Jeudy 3 touchdown game. So if I would have had Jerry Jeudy on that particular team, nobody was catching me. I actually had a different lineup with Jerry Jeudy and McKinnon as well. And I cleared every contest I was in. Like, I didn't have that lineup in every contest, but that lineup cleared every contest I was in. I'm like, damn, I should have just played this everywhere. I would have been rich. My kids could have went to community college.
Oh, don't you hate those? Yeah, the ones you win never feel as good as the ones that you lost, as much as they hurt, right? But I see, Joel found a good one, and then
let's see.
Lee likes it over 12.5. What do you think about that?
Player longest rush.
I could see it. There's a world where I could absolutely see this out of.
I can see the Chiefs trying to really load up on the passing and trying to,
two deep safeties
stop
against
them or whatever. Exactly, and then first and 10, and he rips off a 15-16 yarder. Like, that's easy.
Yep, easy I agree. I think it can happen. I'd take that too, boys.
Easy game. All right. Well, any other bets you want to talk about, or do you want to tell everybody where they can find you, and then we got our predictions, our game predictions.
Oh yeah, we can go into that because I got a Madden draft coming up tonight. I can't wait. Hopefully you guys give me some good luck here hanging out with you. But
that's right.
So you can find me, of course, right here on Stadium Rant every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern with our friend James talking about the NBA. We are currently in the midst of trade deadline drama, all-star votes. We are getting ready to gear up for NBA draft coverage. I also am on the Indy Intercept podcast, which we will still be doing some episodes to talk about the Colts over the offseason. So again, more NFL draft stuff there. And then I cover hoops for the Last Word on Basketball. So if you like to read any of my hoops writing, you can find me there as well. But yeah, or right here, Twitter at Kev Nevick. I would love to banter with you.
That's awesome, Kevin. Let's give your score predictions for the two games.
Score predictions. What do we got? What's first? Eagles and 49ers. Niners. I'm gonna go with a 27-24 Eagles victory.
27-24. And what about the Chiefs Bengals?
Chiefs Bengals.
Be careful.
You should see. I thought you were gonna let me go last, so that way if I got kicked off, it could be after
Just drop you.
Please understand that I made these picks weeks ago when I didn't know I'd be on this show. So it's too late for me to pivot course here, but I picked the Bengals to win it all when this whole thing started. So I have to pick them to win this weekend and get to the Super Bowl. We'll call that one 31-28.
Thanks, Kev. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. Come on back. 37-28. At least it'll be high flying.
31-28.
31-21.
Very
Either
close.
Way, it'll be high flying. Load up on that for DFS. That's all right. We can deal with that. Can't deal with a loss, but we can deal with that. I appreciate you being here, Kev. Man, this has been awesome. We went 2 hours. Whatever. It was awesome. It was a great time. I appreciate it. Thank you all for being in the chat. Thank you for your support each and every week. We'll probably take next week off and then come back right before Super Bowl. I'll be doing showing you all my showdown lineups and how I build them for the Super Bowl. Don't worry, I've got a whole spreadsheet for it. Do it each and every year. I also do Super Bowl squares. So if any of you out here want to do some Super Bowl squares, hit my DMs. Always do those. Actually, last year ended up with 2 different spreadsheets of squares. So I'll definitely fill out two squares again. So hit me up. Lee says 20-17 49ers. Man, Bengals win 34-27. I don't know about that. I will be texting you later to let you know how I don't agree with that. I'm going 31-17 Eagles. 31-17 Eagles is what I'm going with. And you know, you guys know what it is. We're going with it, baby. We're going Chiefs. We're going to hit
36-36 tie in overtime. Chiefs first down and goal to go.
I'm going to win every single day.
Mahomes looks to throw it.
Chiefs,
Pump
baby.
faking right side. He wants it. A
all
comeback
air,
cut.
man.
It is caught by Kelsey.
It's all
Yeah, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper.
Touchdown!
47, 24.
Kansas City!
Go Chiefs. Go to Super Bowl 47. It's over. Get out of here, Joe Burrow. See y'all next time.